Hi. So I'm back. Technically, it's a confession. It's the same morning as the video about waiting to be rescued or waiting for somebody to complete you or whatever. Um, I had to change my pajamas because it's the only, like, what I'm wearing in the video is the only way I can sort of sort these sometimes. So that's just a nod to my technical challengedness. So there you have that. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is various types of stress. And this is sort of a follow on to the one just before about, like I said, the needing to be completed or rescued or finding that perfect mate or whatever, right? So this is, I've been thinking a lot about stress and because I feel like so many people are in so much chaos right now. So what I was coming to is, and I apologize, the dogs are chewing on things right now, and I think that you may be able to hear that. There's different kinds of stress, right? There's at least two major categories of stress that come to my mind, and maybe that's just in my current experience, right? There's stress that we choose, right? And that can be in the form of busyness, right? That can be in all the things we take on, like, that's when our no doesn't work. That's when our boundaries are not good because we keep taking on stuff that we don't necessarily really even want to do, but we feel like we should, right? We should volunteer for this thing or that thing or do this or do that, or somebody asks us to do things. And we don't have a good no, right? And we don't take the time to think about it and say, you know what, that really doesn't interest me at all. That sounds like hell. I can tell you right now, anybody that asks me to start calling people and ask for money, that's a hell to the no. I used to do that. And I felt disgusting and horrible the whole time. And I'm not saying it's not a good thing to do. There are people who are super talented at it, good friends of mine who are amazing at it. I am not made up that way. It is not fun for me. I do not enjoy it. I'm not good at it. So I know now, absolutely not. I'm very, very careful about the things I take on as a volunteer. I make sure that I, one, think they're going to be fun as well, because if I'm not having fun, what am I contributing? And then the other thing is, in my work that I do, well, I'm not going to make any excuses, but I take people on a sliding scale. So that's one of the ways that I contribute, I feel like, to improving the world around me, is to offer what I do to people on a sliding scale for people that can't necessarily afford it. Anyway, and that is something that I truly love and that I feel like really makes a difference. So that's one of the things, and I didn't mean to get off on a tangent there. The point is that we often take on a lot of stuff because we think we should, because we think other people will think well of us if we do, because we want to climb the social ladder, and so we feel like there's certain things that we need to do or have to do, or we're trying to people please, or we're trying to parent please, or we're trying to child please, whatever it is, right? We take on a whole bunch of stuff, and then that eats up our time, and that causes us a great deal of stress. And we feel like we're constantly like running from one thing to another. So that is a place where you can decide, I don't want to do that anymore. I want more time for myself. What things can I drop out of? What things do I not need to do? What things are not bringing me joy, right? That I can drop, right? That's one kind of stress. And that stress is much more controllable, right? Because we have to sit down and examine why we're doing those things and whether or not we truly want to, whether they're worth our time and energy, whether we like the people we're working with in that case. Those are choices, right? Then there's the other kind of stress that you don't choose, right? This is the stuff that the universe, the world, life, whatever you want to call it, throws at you, right? Stuff you don't ask for, stuff you didn't agree to, somebody getting sick, somebody dying, somebody having financial trouble, a fire like in Maui recently, a hurricane. These are not things we ask for, but they are things that happen to us and that then cause, obviously, can cause a huge amount of stress, and we don't have a choice about them, right? So I think thinking about, whoa, dudes, hey, stop. Oh my God, stop it. Anyway, sorry, or dogs freaking out in the middle of your video. Ollie, get down. Anyway, so there's these two things, right? There's stress we choose, things we do that we choose that we can unchoose, and then things we don't choose that show up, right? And I think the thing that may actually sort of unite them, not unite them, but underlying things, right? For instance, as I mentioned on the you chose it side, is people pleasing, right? You're doing something because you want people to like you, because you want people to think you are a certain way or a certain kind of person, or you want to be seen well by people that you want something from, or whatever, right? That's one side. So that you can examine, like, okay, why do I keep taking on all these things that I don't actually want to do and that suck up all my time and make me miserable, right? There's one. And then there's the stuff that you didn't choose that just happens to you, that you didn't, or that happens to people around you or whatever, that causes you a great deal of stress, right? Now, you can't control those things. You cannot choose when someone gets cancer. You cannot choose when a hurricane comes, right? But you can still choose how you react to these things. And you can also use them potentially as opportunities to figure out what trauma is being triggered in you, or what past events are being triggered in you, or patterns are being triggered in you that need to be resolved, right? That if you resolve them, you will not be nearly as stressed by these events. These are events that are going to happen. Natural disasters are going to happen more and more apparently these days. People are going to pass. People are going to get sick. Things are going to happen that we didn't choose, right? Things are going to happen to us because of things other people do, right? That we did not choose. What is being beyond the actual event and the stress of the event, right? What is being triggered in you? What patterns are being brought up that you can then use this opportunity to examine and do something about? Oh, I just realized I think people are coming to work. It's Sunday morning and I have people coming here to work. That's why the dogs are freaking out. This is my life. Here it is. Chaos. Perfect example. So anyway, that is really all, because I think things are about to get really chaotic. So I want you to look at the two different kinds of stress and what are the categories that are in your life at this very moment, and what patterns are being evoked, right? Because part of what I've been seeing is, between the stress that I chose, right? And even if I didn't know exactly what I was choosing, like for instance, when I decided to renovate this house and then things that have happened since then, and then stuff I didn't choose, what patterns are being evoked here? For instance, what do I do for distraction? What do I, what's my go-to? Do I start eating more? Do I start drinking more? Do I start, trying to find a new guy to date? What is my go-to thing? Where do I go? What do I do? Do I get more easily irritated? What is it? What are the patterns that happen to me? And how can I use this moment with all of this stress to change those patterns, right? To change those patterns. That's what I need to look at. And so that's what I'm examining right now. I'm inviting you to examine the same thing and see if that's helpful. So that's what I have. So again, cheers. I'm still finishing this cup of coffee, and apparently there are people working on the house right now. Sunday morning at 9:20. So anyway, that's a little example of some chaos in my life right now. What pattern is coming up? Right now I'm just going to laugh. So anyway, again, mwah, big kisses. Love you. Bye.